Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to an edition of Warhammer-Wednesdays, where we showcase weekly Warhammer Battle Reports every single Wednesday with our series, The Golden Age. Now today's episode's a little bit different. Instead of doing a battle report, what I'm going to do is actually do a video about the army that I'll be playing for the next few weeks for our studio. And the army that I'll be playing is Stormcast Eternals. And the great thing about that is that I'll be playing Stormcast Eternals using 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battle rules. Like I said before, basically when it comes to the Stormcast Eternals army, the reason why I'm using these guys is because unfortunately I don't play Warhammer Age of Sigmar anymore. So because of that, these miniatures are pretty much just collecting dust in our studio, and they weren't being used for anything because you don't have anything equivalent to these guys in Warhammer Fantasy Battle Reports. Now for those of you guys who are long-term viewers of the channel, you could remember a couple years ago we used to do Warhammer Age of Sigmar Battle Reports on my channel. Originally this channel was actually formed to be created to be a Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report channel. That's originally what we were going to do, and just focus on Warhammer Fantasy Battle the entire time. But the year that we started our channel was also the same year that Games Workshop ended the Old World series of games and decided to launch Age of Sigmar. And so because of that, my gaming group and I decided to try out Age of Sigmar and to play it and to make some battle reports. In fact, the army that I originally started off with for Age of Sigmar was my Sylvaneth army. That's originally how I got started into Age of Sigmar. The problem though is that my friends and I, we did try to give Age of Sigmar an honest chance. We did, and it's a neat game. It's got some good qualities about it, but it wasn't as fun for us as it was playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle Fantasy instead. So because my gaming group, they're doing me a favor by playing and letting me record our games and create my channel content. I'm not going to force my friends to play a game they don't want to play. It's just as simple as that. Especially since they're doing me a favor by playing these games that way I can record them for my channel. So instead they wanted to go back to Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and that's what we decided to do. We like that game a lot more. We enjoy it, and we've actually been doing a great job making battle reports for that. And you guys also love the content that we create for that as well. So it was a win-win situation for everyone involved. The only problem though is that the Age of Sigmar miniatures that we didn't have very many in our studio, but the ones that we did have, we had to find ways to use them in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So for example, our Sylvaneth army that I originally started off with became our studio's Wood Elf army. That's why our Wood Elf army is so heavy in forest spirits, because of that reason. The Bone Splitters that we actually had for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, we're using those now to create our Lizardmen army, the Lizards of Waz. If you guys have been seeing that with our series, Back to the Primitive, we've been using those as well. The only thing that we couldn't figure out a use for was the Stormcast Eternals. But luckily for me though, I did find some rules, as you can see right here. This is actually a doc from the Bell of Lost Souls website. They actually, someone created a Stormcast Eternals rule set for Warhammer 8th edition. They called it 8.5 rules because of the addition to the Stormcast Eternals there, which is actually kind of cool because the Stormcast Eternals army book that's created it's an unofficial document, but it kind of bottoms out when you start opening the Vanguard Warrior Chambers is where it pretty much ends for the units. It doesn't have any additional unit rules beyond that, which was perfect because that was around the time that I got out of Warhammer Age of Sigmar and got into Warhammer Fantasy, so these rules really work out for us. And so the reason why we're doing this video is to kind of show you guys the kind of rules that are associated with the Stormcast Eternal army, so as we're playing this for our Golden Age series, you guys aren't lost as viewers. You can actually see what the rules are and what we plan on using them. So we're going to talk about that today with my army composition as well as the rules and how they work for them. Just to give you guys a brief overview about the Stormcast Eternals, the Stormcast Eternals are an army of extremes. They have a lot of strengths, really powerful strengths. Individual fighters have really good stats. They have really powerful special rules attached to them as well, but the army has some serious drawbacks as well. For example, this army doesn't benefit from rank bonuses. The reason why is because the entire army is skirmishers, so they don't get rank bonuses. They can't upgrade with musicians or standard bearers for their units, so they lose out on that as well. Plus, they have really high point costs, which is also why this army is really small. For example, the army that you're seeing on the left, this is actually a 2,000 point Age of Sigmar army. But in Warhammer 8th edition, it's a 3,000 point Stormcast Eternal army. So it's a really small army, which means you'll always be outnumbered as well. At the same time, they also have no access to any of the lores of magic. They have no magic whatsoever. They do have some battle prayers that they can use, which are like bound spells, but as for the other lores, they can't access any of that. So, like I said, they have a lot of strengths, but they also have a lot of weaknesses as well. So, it'll be kind of interesting to see how these guys stack up. So let's go and talk about this real quick. So here's our content. We're going to skip all the fluff, all the background information about Stormcast Eternals. We're just going to concentrate primarily on the special rules. We're going to kind of breeze over a little bit with their armory of magical items. But the part we're really going to focus on real quick, though, is the actual army rules and their lists. So let's go ahead and get that started. So first of all, let's go ahead and talk about my army composition. So, my army basically consists of 10 Liberators, which are right here in the center. I have a Knight Heraldor, a Knight Vexillor. I also have a Lord Relictor. I got 5 Judicators. I got 5 Vanguard Hunters, which I'll be proxying as Judicators, just because I don't want to buy 5 more Judicators. I just don't want to. I have a Lord Celestant mounted on a Dracoth. I got 5 Prosecutors armed with Celestial Hammers. I got 5 Paladin Retributors armed with Thunder Hammers. I also have 3, I forgot what these guys are called, Aether Paladors. I got 3 Paladors as well. I got a Knight Azeroth. I also got a Knight Venator as well. I also got 3 Longstrike Raptors and 3 Aether Wings in this army. So we're going to talk about some of the rules that they have, as well as some of the benefits they receive. So for the special rules, the army has what's called From the Skies They Came. It's a very exactly the same game mechanic that they use in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Pretty much half of the army could use this special rule. They deploy anywhere on the battlefield as long as they're 12 inches away from the enemy, and they scatter 2d6 inches, and that's where they land for the most part as well. They also have a magical armor called Sigmarond Armor. It gives their army armor a 3-up armor save with a 5-up ward save. You can upgrade this, of course, to reinforced armor, but to 2-up armor and a 5-up ward save, but you lose 1 to your movement and initiative characteristics, as well as their mounts. So, you know, it's about finding a balance there. Some weapons have this thing called Purifying Lightning ability, which basically means that attacks will actually cause additional wounds to pretty much any chaos unit. We have this rule called the Light Against the Darkness, and the reason why we have that rule is because all models of this rule are steadfast, and units with characters in them may reroll the leadership test. And the reason why is because we don't have, like I said before, we don't have standard bearers or musicians in this army, so that's the reason why they gave them this rule as well. And like I said, the army is primarily skirmishers. Stormcast Eternals are keen to prepare for charge by closing ranks for an impenetrable wall of steel. In some cases, your infantry forces can do what's called a shield wall. It says instead of moving normally, a unit of Stormcast Eternals can choose to reform into a shield wall formation and act as normal infantry without the skirmisher special rule. If they choose to do so in subsequent turns, they can move, but they may not march. If the Stormcast Eternals are already in combat, then they may not utilize this role because it's too late. Stormcast Eternals can start the game already in shield wall formation at deployments, or if they arrive via From the Skies They Came. Stormcast Eternals may choose to regain the skirmishers rule by reforming. If they do so, they may not move that turn or the other to reform into skirmishers facing any direction. If the Stormcast Eternals are in the shield wall formation and their opponents flee, they must choose not to pursue and instead reform to regain the skirmisher special rule. If they do this, they can move normally in the next turn. So, for example, that's some of the strengths and benefits. So, you can do the shield wall for your infantry forces, so that way you can get your rank bonuses. But if you do, you can't pursue your enemy if they flee and they break. Alright, because you're basically going to go back into skirmisher formation. So like I said, they got some extreme rules that are really powerful, but also they got some extreme handicaps as well. You also have this special rule for Sigmar. Units with this rule have magic resistance 1, and they also receive 2-up for dispelling, which is really important for that. As you can see here, we do have some of the command traits from the Stormcast Eternal books that do carry over for your general, so that part's kind of nice. And we also have prayers for the Storm Host. And the reason why is because this army has no magic users in the traditional sense. You have no wizards in this army. Not really. You do have battle priests who can do these bound spell prayers, but you have no access to any of the lores of magic whatsoever. And also, that's one of the big handicaps that this army actually has is the magic part on it. So it'll be kind of interesting to see exactly how these guys stack up. I imagine they'll be okay because dwarves do a pretty good job against armies with heavy magic, so hopefully that kind of carries over as well. Now we do have some magical items in this army that's available. As you can see, we have these really huge magical items. However, because the miniatures cost so many points, you really don't have a chance to really use these magical items for the most part, because you can see the prices that they have, 40, 50 plus points. Now you probably can use your treasure standards for your battle standard bearers, and you can probably use your mystical lights for those who use lanterns. But for the most part though, especially in my army, I don't really have any magic items in my army too much. But then again, when we talk about the actual stats for the characters, you'll see why that is the case. Now, for the army list, as always, the army list, of course, has the typical restrictions: 50% for characters, 25% core minimum, 50% for special, and 25% for rare. So those rules still stand. And as you can see, we have our bestiary here with our individual characters. I'm going to skip over the ones that I don't have. I'm just going to focus on the ones I do have in my army. So, for example, the Lord Celestant, which is this character. You see his weapon skill 8, strength 5, toughness 5, 4 wounds, 5 attacks. As you can see here, pretty beast character. However, they also do cost 290 points. Now, the Dracoth is also pretty good as well. It's got 3 wounds, 3 attacks, and you can see it costs 60 points for that as well. It also gives you upgrade your options as well. You have your Singmite Rune Blade, which is a magical weapon, which is kind of nice. And you also have your different rules attached to that as well. So you can see here, you can talk about like how you have add 1 to any hit rolls in close combat when your units gets destroyed, for example. You also have your Pure Blade rules up here as well. Same thing with the rules for the Dracoth, the rules of 6. These are typical rules you see in Age of Sigmar that is kind of translated over for Warhammer Fantasy Battle. I also have a Lord Relictor in my army as well. This guy costs 225 points. He's got a Relic Hammer as well. He's also got his Melt Lightning and Healing Storms, which are really good as well. He also has his battles. He also counts as the army's Battle Standard Bearer, and he also got his Battle Prayers, which is kind of neat. I'm going to skip this guy because I don't have this one in my army, nor him. But I do have a Knight Heraldor, which is kind of cool as well. He is a hero class character in this case. As you can see here, we have our battle horns that we can call. As you can see here, it can actually help out with leadership tests. We also have our Thunder Blast ability as well as a Musician Special, because that is the only one that we have in this army. Same with the Knight Vexillor as well. As you can see, we actually have our Meteoric Standards and Pennants of the Stormbringer that you can use. You could also make this guy your army's standard bearer if you want to. However, they can't be your battle standard bearer if your Lord Relictor is your battle standard bearer. So those are the only standard bearers and musicians that you have in this army, are just those 2 heroes. Your normal units can't have those upgrades. So like I said, extreme benefits, but at the same time some severe drawbacks as well. Another character I have, of course, is the Knight Azeroth. I do have that character in my army as well. So as you can see here, he basically has gives bonuses like he does in Age of Sigmar for hitting your targets. We have the Knight Venator, of course, which is like your sniper character, which will help to take out enemy characters, enemy war machines, also enemy monsters. So this guy's going to be very, very important for your army as well. Now, I don't have a Star Drake, so I'm going to skip that part as well. Now, let's get to our core choices. So I do have 10 Liberators in my army. As you can see, their stats are really good. They got 5 weapon skill, 4 strength, 4 toughness, 2 wounds apiece, 2 attacks for normal guys, 3 for their champions. But as you see here, though, they can't have any musicians or standard bearers. So that's one of the problems they have. And they're also 37 points per model. Super expensive point values. So, like I said, they got some extreme stats, which makes them really good, but at the same time, not very many of them. Same thing with our Judicators as well. Like I said before, I have 10 Judicators. I actually have 5 Judicator models and 5 Vanguard Hunters, but I'm planning on proxying my 5 Vanguard Hunters to be Judicators, because I'm not going to buy 5 more Judicators. I'm just not going to do that. I'm Commander Cheapskate. I mean, whose channel you're watching, right? So you can see here, they got some really good stats as well, but as you can see here, the Judicators only have Ballistic Skill 3. So even though they're your shooting army, you know, mediocre shooting at best. Now, granted, their shooting is kind of mediocre, but their weapons are very powerful, so that's where the balance comes in. When they do hit you, you know, it's 50-50 whether they hit you or not, but when they do hit you, though, it hurts. So you can see they actually have their as you see, they have that as well. You can see here, do the special art rule, incumbent armor. Due to heavy armor and the bows the Judicators wield, they may not march and fire with their weapons unless it has a bolt storm rule attached to it. So that's what's going to stop you from being able to march and fire, because usually skirmishing units can do that, but they balance it out with that rule for the Judicators because they got heavy armors. Now, I don't have any. I do have Vanguard Hunter miniatures, but I don't have any for the army list, so we're going to skip that part. Same thing with Protectors. I don't have those, or Decimators, but I do have 5 Retributors, as you can see right here. So you can see they got weapon skill 6, strength 4, toughness 4. They have 3 wounds apiece, 2 attacks for the Retributor, 3 for the Prime. But once again, no standard bearer, no musician as well. The Lightning Hammer does give them 2-up strength, which is kind of great, and it also requires 2 hands. So they're not great weapons. They don't have to worry about doing always strike last, so that part's kind of nice. There are movement 4 though, so they are kind of slow. But this unit would be perfect to use the from the sky as they came, because you want to teleport these guys in, because these guys hit hard. There's only 5 of them, but you know, that's what you want to do. You want to put these guys somewhere that's going to do a lot of damage, and they hurt them there as well. I also have Prosecutors. I have 5 Prosecutors. Now, Prosecutors are legit in this army. As you can see here, 4 strength, 4 toughness, 2 wounds apiece, 2 attacks apiece. They also got Fly, which makes them super powerful as well. They're also Skirmishers. They also have the Purifying Light ability too, lightning, which also really helps them out for their attacks. They also got Celestial Hammers, which they can use in the shooting phase as well as the combat phase, so that part is really, really nice as well. But like I said before, 45 points apiece, though, makes them kind of difficult to get a lot of these guys. I have 5 of them, so it ends up working out the best for those guys, so that part's kind of nice. Same thing with my Vanguard Raptors. I got 3 of those guys as well with long strike crossbows. The long strike crossbows are strength 4, however, they give them the sniper special rule. So that part's kind of nice as well. They also got targeting scopes, which means you get +1 to hit and ignore all negative modifiers for hard cover as well. And it says, and if the hit roll for a long strike crossbow is a 6 or more, it causes 2 wounds and ignores armor saves instead of normal damage. So these guys are really powerful, considering what they're good, considering you can use these guys for character sniping. And the reason why is because, like I said before, the Stormcast Eternal army in this rule set has no war machines, so that's the reason why your shooting units are so good, because you don't have war machines for the most part. I don't have any Gryph-hounds in this army, so I'm going to skip that one. We do have Aether Wings, as you can see, kind of mediocre stats. They get 20 points apiece, but the reason why you want these guys is because of their Watchful Guardian rule. It says, at the beginning of your opponent's move phase, any friendly unit of Aether Wings within 12 inches of a friendly unit of Vanguard Raptors can immediately move. Roll 2 dice. The Aether Wings can move up this distance in inches in any direction, but not within 8 inches of an enemy unit. This move cannot take them further than 12 inches away from the Vanguard Raptors. So these things are really important because your Vanguard Raptors can be outflanked easily, and your Aether Wings are good because they kind of intercept, which makes it kind of a powerful choice there. Now, I don't have any Draconian Guards, so we can skip that part because I don't have any of those units either. So as you can see here, that's pretty much what makes up these guys for the most part with the army. The army is a very hard-hitting unit army. It's got a lot of good stats, but it's a very small army because of the high point value attached to these guys as well. So that's one of the problems that you run into when you use this army. That was one of the problems that you actually have. So the last thing we're going to talk about, of course, is one of our rare choices, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Alright, we're back. Unfortunately, my computer was acting kind of hinky with my preview, so that's why I had to stop real quick. So as you can see, I got 3 Vanguard Paladins. I also have 3 of those in my army. So you can see here, they actually have some really good stats on that one with the Riders. They got Weapon Skill 4, 5, Strength 4, Toughness 4, 3 wounds, 3 attacks. Their Griff Chargers got 10-inch movements, 4 strength, 4 toughness, 3 wounds, 3 attacks. Really, really deadly as well. They also got access to bolt storm pistols, which means it's quick to fire multiple shots. Strength 4, 9 inches. They also got their Star Strike javelins as well, which is really, really powerful. These guys are really good for taking out monsters or a heavy toughness unit as well. And they also have this Ride the Winds etheric rule, which helps them really fly across the battlefield very, very rapidly, which makes them super deadly to outflank your opponents and makes them really powerful that way as well. So very, very cool in those rules. So it makes it very powerful that way as well. So there you go, as you guys have it. That's pretty much just kind of shows you guys what this army is all about. This will be the 3,000 point Stormcast Eternal army that I'll be using for the next few battle reports. I'm going to put this army through every single army within our studio's collection to see exactly how Stormcast Eternals stack up using 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy rules. I'm really super excited to see exactly how that works out. So that's going to do it for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest, greatest hobby news related to our channel. That's good for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.